Guess what, everyone? I've done it. Every single team that the Astros defeated in that postseason can't say shit about the Astros. Because if you know anything about baseball, you know every team cheats. Every team steals signs one way or another, and every team tries to leverage sign stealing in what's considered unfair one form or another. The only thing that made the Astros unique was the fact that they were audible and you can hear it, which was really stupid to be honest. But every team cheats, and guess what? I found and I caught the Dodgers doing it. That's all three. Because guess what? First, the Red Sox fell. Red Sox were the first team we beat in the playoffs in the 2017 title run, and they fell. They were caught cheating in 2017 and 18, and we all know the story. And then there's the Yankees who fell, and they've been cheating since way back in 2014, and they continued in 2017, and it was all covered up by the MLB, and that's a major story right there, right now. And now, the Dodgers, and I caught them. I caught them, and I found it. Because, guess what? As we all know, the MLB season is coming back up, and you know what? I got this. Ah, you know, I got you've all seen my ring. The back up in a special little spot. But I also got this beautiful thing. The 2017 World Series Blu-ray with all the World Series games in it. I was watching all of them, even the ones we lost. I watched Game 1, and while I was watching Game 2, I kind of noticed something. I wasn't really paying too much attention. I was kind of listening to it while I was playing picking up, cleaning my room. I was listening to it while I was working on other stuff. I was listening to it while I was eating. I was just trying to get back into the mood of baseball. There were moments where I was intently watching it because again, it's baseball and I love it, and it's a wonderful series. And Game 2 was amazing, one of the amazing ones that is unforgettable. One of the top games. Game 2 and Game 5 were two of the top games. They were classics. And so I was watching it. And then I kind of noticed it in the seventh inning. 6 whole breaking balls were thrown. Every single one of them were taken. They didn't swing at a single breaking ball. They swung at 9 of the fastballs and didn't swing at 2, but the 2 they didn't swing at were obvious balls. So they took every single breaking ball and only took 2 of the 11 fastballs, and the 2 they took were balls. They swung at 9 of the fastballs, and this ended up with a single and a sac fly. And with that, it kind of seemed like they knew what was going on. And so Brian McCann got up from home plate, went up to the pitcher, told him they talked about what the next pitch was going to be. Brian McCann went back down into the dugout. Okay? And then, well, they threw the next pitch, immediate strikeout. Because, he was already down to strikes. Next pitch was an immediate strikeout, and then they got 3 more pitches, and that was another strikeout. And then this was one breaking ball swung at, and another breaking ball taken, and 2 fastballs swung at. So all of a sudden, it seemed a little bit more balanced with the breaking balls. They actually swung at a breaking ball this time, instead of just sitting there and taking it. And in the 8th inning, I wanted to give a little bit of a fair chance. I went on to the 8th inning and watched. There was 1 breaking ball taken, 3 breaking balls swung at, 5 fastballs taken, and 1 fastball swung at. There was a flyout, a groundout, and then a flyout. And all of a sudden, it seemed a little bit more uneven. It seemed like they really didn't know the pitch anymore. They were waiting for the pitch. So they knew what pitch was coming in that 7th inning before he went out, and they changed the signs. And, well, that's what it seems like, at least. And guess what? Whenever they started, and they were, it seemed like they were knowing the signs, that first batter didn't have someone on base to really relay him the signs. And then I started to think, well, with all of this Astros thing, they would have the signs broken down by the fourth inning, and supposedly that's when the trash things would happen to relay the signs. Which again, that's not illegal. The legal thing was using the cameras, which even then wasn't illegal because, as a Yankees article suggested and said, that rule wasn't passed until after the 2017 season. So suck on it. But besides the point, again, the only thing that was illegal when it came to electronics was how the signs were relayed, not how this, not having the camera placement. That wasn't illegal yet. The illegal thing was how it was relayed through electronics. Dashers didn't use electronics to relay the signs, so again, but they were the only ones that didn't. Everyone else was using some sort of electronics, Apple Watches, stuff like that, buzzers, and so I went. Like I said, I went to look at the fourth inning. They have had zero base runners at this point. They've had no one to be on base and look at the catcher to try to decode the signs. Before the seventh inning, they've had a total of two base runners for a total of two at bats. Two at bats. They've had two at bats to try to decode the signs, and they had it decoded. It appears in that seventh inning with only two at bats. And not only that, but they kind of had some. That first batter with no one on base seemed to know what was going on. And so here we're at fourth inning. There's no one on base right now, and no one was on base yet. There was zero base runners up to this point. There were six fastballs swung at, and then there were two fastballs taken. Both of them were balls, meaning obvious balls that you just don't swing at. And then there were three breaking balls taken, and then the one breaking ball they swung at was a meatball, meaning it was like right in the middle of the plate. How do you not swing at that? It's just a hovering breaking ball, just hovering right there. So obviously he swung at that. And then it kind of seemed kind of like the Dodgers were cheating. That seemed pretty obvious. If the batter knew what pitch was coming, it seemed like there was some way they figured it out. Some way they did it with the camera. And I know I can't be the first one to notice that type of thing. So I did a little bit of digging. I just kind of searched, I did a Google search called "Did the Dodgers Cheat?" And the first thing that came up, mind you, this is a Dodgers Nation article, a pro Dodgers writer. They have no reason to be talking about the Dodgers potentially cheating unless they want to say they didn't cheat. They have no reason to speculate that they were cheating. They want to, this is, there's no bias, no real reason they want this. They don't want their team to be exposed for cheating. So this is Dodgers Nation. Dodgers were accused of sign stealing in 2018 per The Athletic. Huh. Yeah, I really wasn't the first one to notice that type of thing. It's a different year. But yeah, it's right here. Well, it's been speculated that several teams in baseball use their own set of tactics. The Los Angeles Dodgers are not a team in the limelight for doing such a thing. In fact, I forgot the Dodgers were once accused of this practice at all, like most of us did. And then they even show up the original article. The Hernandez says the Dodgers were mentioned as sign stealers in their own right during the 2018 NLCS when they defeated the Brewers in 7 games. And here he doesn't try to deny it. He said, uh, he doesn't deny it. He says some unnamed members of the Milwaukee Brewers told The Athletic during the 2018 National League Championship Series that they were concerned the Dodgers were using video to steal their signs. Huh. 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 Well, why isn't this talked about? Is this another type of thing that was kind of covering up? Are the Dodgers the next team to kind of be exposed? Maybe. Dodgers manager Dave Roberts has remained steadfast in his insistence that his team has played by the rules. Blah, 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 whatever. Members of the New York Mets said in May that they suspect Dodgers hitters knew what was coming and 4-game series they played in Los Angeles. So this is during the regular season they were accused of cheating. So this isn't just like just discovered in LCS. They've been accused of cheating for a little bit. Who knows how far back it goes? But he says it's important. A Dodgers fan saying it's important to remember as we laugh at Houston Astros and Boston Red Sox that this could very well be a common practice in all of baseball. Why would it's not something he would want. Personally, I don't think it makes the Dodgers 2017-2018 World Champions. Unfortunately, as I have seen some declare on social media, I do ask the questions. How do you view on sign stealing in the game of baseball? And if the Dodgers did it in 2018, how do you feel about it? How do I feel about it? I feel ironic joy because once again, it's another team that is a bunch of whiny crybabies complaining about the Astros having an unfair advantage when it's something that every single team does, and then it's coming out slowly that they did it. And again, I'll have them linked. I'll show the Dodgers Nation article. I'll even show the original The Athletic article where they talk about it. And here we go. Not only that, if you go all the way back, they could be cheating. Logan Morrison, Philly. Why would he want to defend the Astros? He's a Phillies batter. Teams cheat using videos. Names the Yankees and Dodgers. Logan Morrison doesn't believe MLB's sign stealing problem ends with the Astros. Oh, he's Brewers at this point. Milwaukee Brewers, but in the picture he's shown as a Philly. Milwaukee Brewers first baseman wrote in a since deleted Instagram post he believes other teams have been guilty of similar infractions. I know the first-hand accounts that the Yankees, Dodgers, Astros, and Red Sox have all used film to pick signs, he wrote. The Astros he was right, the Yankees he was right, and the Red Sox he was right. And he says he knows first-hand accounts of all of those teams, and he includes the Dodgers. If he was right about the other three, what makes you think he's lying about that fourth team? It makes you think. Dodgers did cheat just like everyone else, and that's not the end of it. That's only 4 teams. I guarantee multiple teams cheated with using video to steal signs. It's a very common practice. Stealing signs is a common practice in baseball. The only thing, again, that made the Astros different was the fact that they relayed the signs where you can hear it and you can tell. That's about it. The Astros were the idiot ones who didn't do it correctly. That's about it. We weren't the cheaters. We were the ones who were idiots about it. That's all you can say about it at this point. Every team cheats. Yankees already thrown through the mud about it. Red Sox already thrown through the mud about it. Astros already thrown through the mud about it the most. And the Dodgers are coming next. Their little tower is about to come toppling down. Because after the Yankees are through, you think we won't stop there? This whole MLB sign stealing with this cover up, you think we're going to just stop there and say it was only the Yankees, Red Sox, and Astros? No. With this cover up after that letter's released, it's going to be talks about the other teams as well, and we're going to find out just how widespread this problem is. Because, like I said, and like baseball players who play the game have said, who aren't Dodgers and Yankees crybabies, you know what they say? It's a common practice amongst many teams. And you think that they're wrong because why? Because they're in the sport and they have first-hand experience with all of this? You think that makes them wrong? What makes you think you know more than the people who are actually in the game experiencing it? Because you don't. Like I said, Astros aren't the only ones to do it. And if you, like I said, a long time ago when this whole thing started, if you actually cared about cheating, you would have called out all the teams. Because, there's no way in hell that this was going to be a one-team type of deal. There's no way it was going to be a one-team type of deal. So, you know what? If you were going to say you didn't like this cheating, you were supposed to get onto all the teams. I said if you don't get on all the teams, you're going to end up like a hypocrite. You're going to be hypocrite crybabies. It's mostly Yankee fans and Dodgers fans. And now guess what? Yankees fans and Yankees and I don't care about the other teams. They weren't crybaby whine babies, okay? The other teams, they didn't cry and whine about it. If the Phillies come out or the Brewers come out that they cheated, I really don't care. Because again, as I already said, it's common in baseball. It's extremely common in baseball. But the ones that cried about it the most were the Yankees and the Dodgers. And guess what? Now they've been completely exposed. Only a matter of time before the Dodgers ones get spread out. The Yankees one's already out there. You don't, yeah, Dodgers are going to be next. And they're just going to topple over. And people are still trying to pin it all on the Astros because they're trying to hide the Yankees right now. They're trying to hide the Dodgers. But the Yankees are already on their way down. And the Dodgers just toppling, just waiting for that little nudge. Because they're about, once the Yankees are down, Dodgers are next. Dodgers are next. And I do not feel sorry for any Yankee fan or any Dodgers fan. Any of y'all. I really don't. Y'all are the worst type of baseball fans. And I don't feel sorry for any of y'all for what your team's about to go through once it turns out that this was way blown out of proportion. Just like what people have been saying and what baseball players have been saying for the very beginning.